Hi folks, and welcome to another interesting session regarding Kaizen Blitz for Six Sigma Professional. So I just want to give you a brief background on Kaizen, and it really became popular around the world in 1986 when Dr. Imai Masaki he attributed Japan's success to Kaizen in his famous book Kaizen, the Key to Japan's Competitive Success. Dr. Masaki is renowned all over the world for his wonderful efforts that he is contributing to the manufacturing industry, in particular regarding Kaizen. So he is running another organization named Kaizen Consulting. Now Kaizen is also known as Zero Investment Improvement and usually abbreviated as ZII. So it is actually the part of PDCA, which is the continuous improvement cycle for all the organizations, and also known as Deming cycle. And that is in fact the basis of all the continuous improvement and excellence frameworks across the world. So the popular form of Kaizen which are in practice are known as Office Kaizen, Modular Kaizen, Kaizen Blitz, so on and so forth. And the world's leading manufacturing Toyota Corporation, they also use Kaizen as a continuous improvement tool, and in fact Kaizen is one of the building stone in the Toyota production system. Kaizen Blitz, as it is known in North America, it's a tool for radical changes, and it serves as breakthrough improvements in service and manufacturing facilities. And it is about the rapid improvement opportunities for both problem solving and process improvements. And this is usually done in an organized way. And it is conducted like a workshop over a week or even less than a week as required. So the basic thing which is required to conduct a successful Kaizen Blitz is the management commitment. And following that, cross-functional teams are assembled which are responsible to collect the data, analyze it, come up with alternative solutions, and they have to reach a final solution. They need to implement, and then they need to watch it over a period of time so that it becomes mature. Now remember that over a week or less than a week really does not mean that teams come up with a perfect and ideal solution, but obviously they have to make improvements, and then they can decide to run more Kaizen Blitz in the subsequent time to make more improvements and lean towards the perfection. In Japan it is called Kaikaku. So Japan equivalent is Kaikaku, and in North America it is called Kaizen Blitz. And why it has emerged and became very popular, so the historical reason is the time involved. So if we really run the processes in manufacturing and service for a very long time, and we study them, and then we come up with data, analyze them, take long-term improvement projects, that is too much in this dynamic world. So what happens in Kaizen Blitz, that we gather the people working on the process, empower them, facilitate them, and they themselves suggest a practical solution to make improvements. So conducting Kaizen involves a very careful set of activities which have to be planned. So these span over the activities which have to be planned and conducted before the Blitz is run itself, and there are post-Blitz activities. So let me go through these set of activities one by one. Pre-Blitz activities, these include designating and training facilitators on Kaizen Blitz techniques and tools. And now remember here, the people who are supposed to be facilitators during the Kaizen Blitz are not should be conversant on the Kaizen techniques, but also on the facilitation techniques. So there are sufficient number of tools available on making and transforming people to become facilitators. The second one, they have to select the process or the problem which has to be addressed during the blitz. And by all means, if possible, the initial data should be collected on the selected process or problem that has to be run through, analyzed, and improvements have to be made on that target process or the problem during the blitz. While the blitz is conducted, I'll just list down some activities which are quite common during the Kaizen blitz. So it should include the introduction of participants, the scope and the purpose of the blitz. A training has to be really conducted on the first day or even on the first and second day, how to apply Kaizen techniques. What is the current state of the process which is under consideration? And the team could also plan to map the as-is process. What should be the desired future state of that process, called to-be process, that can also be mapped. Then the team has to go through each activity in the sequence of the procedure of that process to identify the value adding and non-value adding activities. And their focus should be obviously to eliminate the non-value adding activities. They also need to identify and eliminate the different bottlenecks present in the process. And then the new process should be designed, it should be tested, and final solution should be prepared. All the changes that have been made should be documented, and team should also prepare a follow-up plan. So now these are too much. So Kaizen Blitz, as I have illustrated in this picture, the team should sit together under one roof. It should be facilitated. I have brought one of my workshop pictures here that I used to bring the team on one page. So everyone was conversant with the whole cross-functional process, the initial data that was gathered before the workshop was conducted, and the findings which were made by the initial team and the facilitators were shared with the participants. So here I am sharing the post-blitz activities. So as I have told you, the evaluation of the changes or solutions which were finalized and implemented, these have to be tracked. And the impact that has been brought in by implementing the changes and the new solution to make improvements have to be evaluated over a regular period of time. And if required, these improvements or the new problems which could arise from the new solutions should be brought to the new Kaizen Blitz. Here I have proposed a plan for the Kaizen Blitz. So you see, it is a week-long activities, 5 days, and the agenda is available for each day and in a particular sequence. So like for Monday, the participants have to be introduced to each other. The purpose of the event has to be made clear, and again the workshop participants have to be trained on the Kaizen techniques. These could be visual stream mapping, these could be single minute exchange of die, these could be process flow charting, this could be about visual factory, so on and so forth. And really we cannot just keep the team sitting from 8 to 5. We have to obviously give them breaks for coffee, for the lunch. So an agenda is available for Tuesday, which is about the current state of the process, as is mapped, the future state which is required, and this should be placed for discussion to the participants so that there could be a consensus on this discussion. Wednesday is about eliminating non-value adding activities and eliminating bottlenecks. Now it depends upon the type of the process that is under consideration. So some of the activities which would be organizational value adding, maybe they have to be kept while proposing a new solution. And again, whether the team is targeting to reduce the cycle time, is it targeting to reduce the defectives, is it targeting to increase the tag time. So again, it depends which things have to be kept, which can be eliminated, which can be reduced. And again, the team leaders and the facilitators must be conversant on the organization, the associated processes, the stakeholders' expectations, and the customers' value-adding activities. If you see on Thursday, which is the 4th day of this Blitz, the new process, design and testing is the proposed agenda. So the team is not only responsible to propose and design the new process, they also have to in fact come up with a practical scenario. So how the new solution will work and what are the changes made to the existing process. So this has to be documented so that the changes could be informed to the people who would be working on the shop floors, the process owners, the sub process owners, or even the task owners. So they all should be on one page and should be informed on the changes made. And maybe an orientation could be required to tell them how they should perform the work now. Here you have seen the Kaizen Blitz implementation report, right? So this template I have designed for a service facility in which the existing procedure was resulting into too many defectives. So in case of service, there were opportunities for having the moments of truth or the customer satisfaction, but the procedure was not really customer oriented and it was actually the process oriented. So the organization was more focused on designing the process and having a sufficient checks and controls in place. So if you see, I have mentioned over here as is state before the Kaizen Blitz. So the process and the procedures were documented, which were available before the Blitz were run. What could be the desired or the target state? So they were having a procedure in mind that would result in more empowerment to the staff, which could lead to a better customer satisfaction and handling their complaints on spot, immediately and spontaneously. So this was in fact a hospitality facility and they wanted to improve their procedures. So state after implementation has also to be documented, and the tool that they applied was value stream mapping, and they identified the value adding and non-value adding activities. In fact, they also employed another tool called a value analysis in identifying which part of the process were value adding, which were non-value adding. And so they tried to eliminate the non-value adding parts of the process based upon the customer satisfaction in the back of their mind. And they concluded that empowering their staff, even providing them sufficient budget to handle the customers' expectations and requirements, actually fixed and helped them to improve the process. So here in the implementation report, a tracking number can be used to see when and why the improvements were made, in which Kaizen Blitz it was addressed. Items can be reviewed, remarks can be given, and another thing should be taken care of, whether the problem has totally disappeared or it has been improved for a while, or if it should be improved further, then it should be brought in more Kaizen Blitz. So in the below part of this form, you see Q1 Kaizen Blitz, Q2 Kaizen Blitz, Q3 Kaizen Blitz, and Q4 Kaizen Blitz, and Q here refers to the quarter of the year. So the management can decide if sufficient process improvement has not been made, so should the item again be considered by the Kaizen Blitz team or not. So this is really interesting because this saves time. It helps the people who are already on the process as hands-on workers. they get actually more opportunities to bring in their own experience, which is the first-hand experience and the first-hand information, and they are the best people to propose the improvements to make the process better and better as a continuous improvement part of the quality system. So this completes my talk on the Kaizen Blitz. If you have any question, please feel free to reach me. Thank you very much.